In case I haven't relayed the message quite well enough, or in the event that my YouTube channel does not make it apparently obvious, even blatantly obvious, I am not the face of any organization. I am not the voice of any organization. I'm the guy who sits down in the basement office, quite contented in my isolation, making sure that all the pieces fit. As the primary program developer, though, one common question I get from people both externally and internally is, how come you don't scale down operations in order to make it more feasible? Since that is such a valid question, and since it is so relevant, I definitely feel that it deserves an entire video for consideration. For the sake of consideration, we're going to use an analogy here, and we'll consider a proverbial three-legged table, or even for the sake of simplicity, let's utilize a four-legged table. Though systemically sustainable human growth and development only has three legs, consisting primarily of the environmental, the economic, and sociological systems that are necessary for fully integrated support. The structural integrity and weight-bearing capacity of a table are significantly influenced by the distribution of the load across its individual components. When a single larger table utilizes four legs working together, the load is more evenly distributed, allowing each leg to support not only its own weight, but also to enhance the overall stability and strength of the table, allowing it to support substantially more. This synergistic effect occurs because the weight is spread across a larger surface area, reducing the strain on each individual leg. If the tabletop is cut into four pieces and each piece is paired with one leg to create four separate tables, several factors contribute to the diminished strength of these smaller tables. First, each table now relies on a single leg to support its portion of the weight. This inherently limits the load it can bear. A single leg is less stable and has a lower weight-bearing capacity compared to a leg that is part of a system, as the distribution of force is concentrated rather than dispersed. The mechanical design principles that underpin the stability of furniture emphasize the importance of interconnected supports in the original configuration. The four legs are part of an integrated structure that resists tipping and distributes forces laterally as well as vertically. When the tabletop is divided, the lateral support provided by the connections between the legs is lost, reducing the overall stability of each smaller table. The increased potential for uneven weight distribution in the smaller tables further compromises their strength. With a single leg bearing the weight of a smaller section of the tabletop, any slight imbalance or uneven load can more easily cause tipping or otherwise cause failure. In contrast, the original larger table with four legs can accommodate minor imbalances more effectively due to the broader base of support. While it is physically possible to create four separate tables from one larger table by dividing the tabletop and using each leg independently, the resulting tables will inherently lack the strength and stability of the original structure. This is due to the loss of load distribution, lateral support, and the increased likelihood of imbalanced weight, or weight distribution. All of these are mitigated in the unified design of the larger table with four legs all working together. Systemically sustainable human growth and development requires a more holistic and integrated approach akin to the structural integrity of a well-balanced table supported by four legs, or three in this case. In this analogy, of course, the legs of the table represent the economic, environmental, and sociological factors, all of which are essential for stability and resilience. And while there are only three, they are equally imperative in ensuring the success of the overall program. Singular blanket solutions, comparable to attempting to balance a table on one leg, are inherently flawed due to their inability to address the multifaceted nature of human development. They must be tied down, they must be secured, and they must be maintained if they are to remain, or even if they are to maintain any semblance of stability. This, of course, also completely ignores the existential nature of humanity, as well as the very unique, localized, and even individual concerns related to the understandings based on perspective versus perception. Economically speaking, systemic sustainability requires robust financial policies that promote equitable growth job creation, and innovation. These economic strategies must be designed to support diverse industries, encourage entrepreneurship, and provide safety nets for vulnerable populations at the local level and based on any and all relevant local context. Relying solely on economic policies without considering environmental and sociological impacts is analogous to depending on one leg to support a table, leading to instability and inefficacy, and will ultimately result in the table falling over or collapsing under its own weight. Even if successful as an independent venture, financial success may further lead to the usurpation of powers with a primary or even sole focus on financial gains, which often comes at the expense of the environment and the people. Environmentally, systemically sustainable growth mandates the preservation and responsible management of natural resources. This does include, to some degree, combating climate change, reducing pollution, and promoting renewable energy resources. The primary focus, of course, being the ability of the present generation to enjoy ready access to the basic necessities of life without inhibiting the potential of future generations to enjoy the same capacity. An environmental approach that disregards economic and sociological implications can lead to policies that, while environmentally sound, may result in economic hardship or social unrest. Just as our proverbial table requires the balance provided by all its legs, environmental initiatives must be integrated with economic and social policies if they are ever to be effective, especially in terms of systemically sustainable human growth and development. Sociologically, the well-being and development of communities are also critical. This involves the basic and traditional needs, including ensuring access to education, healthcare, social services, and fostering more inclusive societies that respect diversity and promote equity, but not at the expense of the individual or the family unit. Sociological factors support human capital development and social cohesion, which are vital for economic productivity and environmental stewardship. Though at the same time, it also needs to be introduced with a decentralized approach that focuses on the local context, cultural and historical sensitives, and one that provides a tangible benefit and little or ideally no detrimental impact at all on the median quality of life at any level. Isolated sociological interventions without economic and environmental considerations are also insufficient to maintain systemic sustainability and sustainable development. Conversely, even economically and environmentally sound policies that create an undue burden on the social framework are equally destined to fail, in many cases before they have ever been fully implemented. In the same way that our table's stability depends on the congruent implementation of all its legs, systemically sustainable human growth and development depends on the absolute and complete integration of economic, environmental, and sociological factors. Each component not only supports itself, but further enhances the capacity for others to support even more, creating a more resilient and adaptable system where each leg supports its own weight, while at the same time strengthening the entire system as a whole, allowing it to become even more effective and capable of standing on its own. In the realm of systemically sustainable human growth and development, it is also imperative that programs are designed to provide immediate relief from the current challenges while simultaneously addressing and eradicating their underlying causes. This dualistic approach ensures that immediate needs are met while also laying the groundwork for long-term stability and resilience, akin to placing a sturdy table on a stable, flat, and even surface to ensure it can support its load both now and in the future. Addressing immediate challenges is crucial for stabilizing communities and preventing further deterioration of conditions. However, just as a table placed on an uneven or unstable surface cannot perform its intended function effectively, short-term solutions alone are insufficient without a solid foundation that addresses the root causes of these problems, with the proposed function of ultimately eradicating the very environment that promotes poverty and allows for the expansion of the vulnerable classes of society. Focusing on just the current symptoms, however, would allow for nothing but ultimate failure. Simultaneously tackling both the existing symptoms and the underlying causes of these challenges is essential for sustainable development. This involves comprehensive strategies that promote systemic change. These long-term measures aim to eradicate the structural issues that give rise to economic disparity, poor health outcomes, environmental degradation, and other issues relevant to the individual, the family unit, and the local community as a whole. Equating this to our table analogy, placing the table on a stable, flat, and even surface in a protected environment as opposed to being out in the yard exposed to the element, ensures that it remains strong and functional over the course of time, in the case of our foundation, over the course of the 200-year plan. Similarly, a more holistic program that addresses both the immediate and long-term needs creates a more resilient foundation capable of withstanding various challenges. By ensuring that all the components, economic, environmental, and sociological, are integrated and balanced, the larger program can continually function effectively and sustainably without worry of tipping or otherwise losing its capacity to handle the load. The foundation of this approach is the recognition that not only are each of the individual components or legs imperative, the immediate and long-term solutions are further and even more fully integrated at the same time. Immediate relief efforts prevent current crises from escalating, while long-term strategies build resilience and capacity, reducing the likelihood of future or additional crises, unforeseen circumstances, or other conditions that nobody is adequately prepared to deal with. This dual focus also ensures that programs are not merely reactive, but also proactive in creating a path forward for systemically sustainable human growth and development. Just as a well-placed, well-supported, and well-maintained table is designed to last, these systemic solutions, built on a solid, integrated, and adaptive foundation, are more likely to endure and to continue to provide benefits over the long term, at least for the next 200 years. A freestanding, one-legged table sitting out in the yard is unlikely to last 2 years, never mind 200. So yeah, if you want to know more, if you're curious, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you. Bye. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment below.